Hey, everybody. Wanted to just check in with you, bring you up to date a little bit on things and how they're going at the clinic. Um, some of the updates, some of the procedures, and a new announcement. But before I do that, I wanted to share something with you. I had a minor meltdown yesterday morning, which is totally logical under the circumstances that we're all in, and because I imagine that a lot of you have done the same thing. I just thought maybe some of what I was thinking and what came through would be useful to you. So it started out with I read an article in the newspaper, in our local paper in the morning, that was talking about how the virus was transmitted. And, we're all pretty familiar with that. So one of the things that caught me this time, so we were talking about how the virus can enter through the nose. And I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. And I know that. And then I was thinking a little bit later, it's like, shit, I I sniff. If I get a runny nose, I sniff. It's like from the time it became clear to me when I was like, I don't know, a little kid, that it was socially unacceptable to let snot run down my face. I sniff. So just by breathing, it hit me that time. It's by breathing I could be getting sick. So then I talked myself down from that. It's like, okay, I'm learning how not to touch my face, getting there. I can learn this. And then a little bit later, I was making my bed, and I thought, am I supposed to change the sheets every day? And I don't know if if you ever seen. I think Indiana Jones did this one time. So the guy's going through this whole. I got to get through this trial, and I got to do this, and there's the snakes, and he thinks he's all the way through, and then something else shows up that's bigger and worse. He just goes, "Oh, come on," which was my response. Like, how many more things am I going to have to change? How many more things do I have to be aware of, and that are habits for me? What do I do after I open the car door? What do I do when I open the house? Just thing after thing after thing after thing. And my anxiety started ramping up. And I thought, and I'm going to do all the things, and I'm still going to die. And worse than that, my kids could die, or my grandkids can die. And I really was, at that point, it was just really kind of escalating. Now, over the years, I've learned some tricks to try and get me out of places like that. So the first one that I tried was, well, let me see if I can change the subject. I live in a beautiful place. The birds are singing. It's spring. That was just too much of a disconnect from feeling like we're in the apocalypse to the blue sky outside. It just didn't work. And so finally I thought, all right, I'm just I'm just gonna I'm gonna choose to be scared for right now. And that led me to think, I want to talk to people about the elephant in the room. Because this is, I think, what's underlying so much of our fear right now is we don't know, we're under threat. We feel like we're under threat, and we are. And we don't understand, and we're reliant on other people to tell us what to do, and we're doing all the things they tell us what to do. Plus, in my case, I'm throwing things in like more vitamin C. What else can I be doing that I know about from Chinese medicine? I've got some herbs that I'm thinking, we're doing all the things. We're doing everything we're supposed to do. We're trying as hard as we can to do everything that we're supposed to do. And we could still get sick, and we could still die. And our loved ones could still get sick and still die. So what hit me was that there's this slap in the face of awareness of our mortality, which is so much of a bigger issue than the virus itself. And To a certain degree, I've been working on that myself anyway, because I'm 66. I don't know when the clock's going to run out, but it's a lot closer than it used to be, at least as I used to think it would be. So, I've been trying to come up with coping things and how to do that. But I think that fear of dying is really what's underneath all of this. And I want to tell you that this is normal to have this fear. It is normal for us to be afraid of this. The trick about all of the coping with all of what's going on right now is, how can we control or soothe or ease the fear so that we're not operating from fear? Because when we operate from fear, we don't make good decisions. That, to me, is the biggest underlying cause of the run on toilet paper. There's no logical reason for our country to have gone nuts about hoarding toilet paper, except we're afraid, and it was the only thing we could think of to do. And all you got to do is have one or two people in your market stocking up, filling up their shopping cart with toilet paper, and you feel their fear. We are very sensitive to each other's emotions. We feel the fear and we think, oh my God, there must be some reason to buy the toilet paper. I better do it too. Until there's no toilet paper. So the fear piece is what we need to really grapple with underneath all of these other things. Doing stuff is good. Having something to do is good. If you've been in any sort of quarantine, you know that it's just kind of mind numbing, because you're probably used to being really active, and now you can't be because you're confined. There's only so many times you can clean your house, I think. I wouldn't know that, because I have to be pretty far down the road before I start house cleaning as a coping mechanism. But you know what I'm saying? So here's a piece of Chinese medicine that I'd like you to think about. And this is not, I can explain it in terms of Chinese medicine, but this is not just a Chinese medicine thing. There are philosophies and religions all over the planet that talk about this. Fear is an emotion. It's a very powerful emotion. But emotions are neither good nor bad. We assign a quality of good or bad to our emotions. And since one of the basic foundations of Chinese medicine is that there must be movement. If there is no movement, then things start to stagnate and we get sick. The most important thing for us to know about our emotions is that if we resist them, then we're in trouble. If we resist grief, it lasts longer. And if we resist fear, it sort of backs up and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. So my little go-to thing, which was to say to myself, okay, I'm going to choose to be scared now, actually shifted things. Not much, but it was enough for me to begin to calm down, and then I could start doing other things that could help shift and allow that fear to be, because it's like standing in a river. If you let it be, it will just flow. Well, so anytime I talk about this with people, that itself is scary, because it feels sometimes that the emotion is so powerful that if we say, fine, I'm going to choose to feel that, we will be swept away in the tsunami of that emotion. Possibly. It won't last very long, because it's impossible for us for most of us, it won't last very long. Almost all of us, it won't last very long. Because it's just possible that it is built up so much that the initial release of it is going to feel pretty strong. But I think if we choose to allow the emotion to happen, the door begins to open just a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, and we can choose the next step, and we can choose the next step. The next step could be actually going outside. Go for a short walk, even if it's just a walk around your house, just a lap. Do a lap around your house and go back inside. That's going to shift it. So when we're standing in that river and we feel like the floodwaters are coming up behind us, the fear of floodwaters, and we just let it happen, then we continue to move. We get carried along with it. We continue to move. If you've ever seen anything of a dam release on a river and you follow it far enough, you know that those waters calm down. Waters come down. We're not gonna drown in the fear unless we resist it. So I find that and by the way, that probably sounds really cool that I'm coming up with this, and gosh, maybe I'm really onto something really wise here. It didn't happen right away for me. It does take some time, and sometimes you got to tweak it. You say, I'm going to choose to be afraid for now. I'm going to choose to feel the fear for now. You got to check back in. Do I still need to choose to feel the fear, or can I choose something else now? Can I choose to get pissed off about the fact that I'm afraid and this is happening? And I mean, why would we not be pissed off about this? We all sort of had some kind of idea of what we wanted our lives to be like, what we expected, and we were capable of coping with most of the things that come up that just sort of derail that temporarily. And this just feels so much bigger. So why wouldn't we be pissed off about that? You can get to pissed off. It's actually better. It's moving around the cycles in terms of Chinese medicine. So okay. So now I'm angry about this. So okay, I'm gonna choose to be angry. This just sucks. I don't like this. And after a little while, I can check back in and say, do I still need to choose to be angry? Actually, I'm really getting bored with this. I'm bored with trying to come up with, it's like, it's Indiana Jones. Come on, I have to do something else to be safe. Geez, how many am I supposed to be watching every little thing that I'm bored with that. First I'm frustrated, now I'm bored. And each time that happens, the emotions are moving. The emotions are moving. And when I get to the place where I'm like, I'm really bored with this, that's when I'm starting to be able to say, oh, that bluebird pair is back in my yard. I haven't seen them since last spring. Cool as that. And I have a little tiny vacation from all of the stress of trying to keep my business alive, keep myself alive, take care of myself and my family. Just, I'm looking for those little vacations, like seeing the bluebirds, or even if I'm lucky, I'll get this sort of, the crocuses are up. How cool. And I begin to look for those again. And that eases my heart. So you can take on board what I said. You can do exactly what I said if you want to, but my guess is that you're going to need to tweak this for you. How can you take a breath so that you can take and just for a while let it be afraid, because your world's not going to end. So you're going to have a chance to get over the fear and do something. Take up beading, take up sewing, find a way that you can volunteer. There'll be lots of things that you can do. Allow the fear. Allow the fear. That's my, I didn't know that when I started this, whether I was going to be able to come up with some way to wrap this up. I think that's it. If we learn how to allow the emotions to flow, we'll be okay. And the truth, I think, under all of that, is we are going to be okay. May not be a lot of fun. It may, which is a little bit of an understatement. I recognize that. It may be messy, but we're going to be okay. And I think when we get to the place where we can listen to the stillness of our hearts, we know this. And that was good. Listen to the stillness of your heart, Karen, and I get this big breath. That's what we're aiming for. So that's the inspirational part for the day. I wanted to also let you know what we're doing at the clinic. We are still open, but currently at the moment not seeing patients until the masks arrive. So I started ordering masks in various stages. Beginning of the month, we're supposed to get them on Monday. Once we get the masks, we'll be getting in touch with patients to see if they want to come in again. We have a process for what would be the for bringing people. I think they call it onboarding, but we're going to just say for bringing you all into the clinic if you're a patient here. That preserves the social distancing and minimizes exposures as much as it's possible to do. Those procedures, I ran the procedures by a public health nurse who's a friend of mine a week ago, got an A from her, and then had an unexpected call from the city Department of Health, who wanted to know what we were doing to protect people. So I was like, oh, this is great, because I'm glad you called, because I'm not entirely sure whether we qualify as an essential business. It looks like we do per our governor's order. So maybe you can clarify this for me. Would you like to know what we're doing? And went through the whole thing, sent him the written up procedure. We got an A from him. He just wanted us to have masks before we're seeing people, and I'd already made that decision, so that's cool. So in the meantime, while we wait for the masks, I have set up the ability for us to do telemed. You may think that's a little weird for an acupuncture clinic, but the truth is, if you've been to see us at any time, you know that we do a ton more than just use needles. We do a lot of coaching. We do a lot of listening. We do a lot of talk about nutrition. We do talk about stress management, all of those things, even acupressure stuff. Like I did a call 2 days ago with a patient who was having a lot of pain, and I was able to say, well, here, let me tell you, and this actually was by phone and not by Zoom. We will be doing these by Zoom. I was able to describe to him where a point was to help alleviate pain, make sure that he found it, and then talk to him about the state of mind he needed to be in order to do that. So it was brilliant. It worked really well, and we're offering that to people, new patients or old patients. We are also going to be checking in with our current patients who are taking a break right now by their choice or because we don't have the masks. We'll check in with you once a week. We want to know how you're doing, and we want you to know that we are still a tool for you should you need it. So we'll be giving you a call. If you're interested in finding out more about the telemed stuff that we're offering, you can just go to our website, and you can go there from the Facebook page where you're watching this, and see if it's something that you think we could help you with. We're here for you. We're going to get through this. Just keep listening to that point in your heart that makes you take the deep breath that says it's stillness. You have to find that stillness. Find the stillness in your heart, and so you can take a deep breath, and then you can take the next step, and the next step, and the next step. So that's it for now. I'll be talking to you soon. Take good care.